Hello, this is Joanne from Colorado, and I am working today on making another bird bath. I wanted to show you the process. I have a 4 to a 4.5 cup measuring cup, and I have measured of my rapid set mortar mix. I have 10 cups, 10 of my 4-cup measuring cups. So that's like 40 cups of cement. But I just used the 4-cup thing, and it says to use one. Oh, sorry, I'm opening a bottle of dye. So it says to use 1 cup of water to 4 cups of the mortar. So because this is liquid too, I'm going to use some of this red. Try to get it in front of here so you can see it. Red and brown. I'm going to dye it with that. I also have this acrylic fortifier. And like I said, the Rapid Set one is blue, and it's adhesive and acrylic something. So because I need a half of one of these cups of more liquid, I am going to go ahead and use this fortifier and my dyes as part of the liquid, and then we'll see if I need more. I can dump it in. So put this out here. I'm going to use some of this brown is really thick in there. And then when I measure out the liquid, I put the liquid in the bottom of the bucket so that when I start mixing it, it will, oh man, I'm gonna have to add some water to that or something. Anyway, when I start mixing it, if the liquid is on the bottom, then the big mixer blade will pick it up and mix it. If I have a whole bunch of dry concrete in the bottom, it can stick down there and be really hard to mix. So the fortifier, the dyes, all going in the water. That is going to be messy, so I am going to set it in a box. Hopefully can't leave it on the cement. So, trying not to get my camera all messy. Oh no. Hard to adjust a tripod with gloves that are already messy. Okay, so I have several spatulas too, because I want this one to kind of look like rock. So here goes liquid. There's a lot of dye in there. So if I add more water, I'm going to pour it in there first so it comes out with the dye. Okay. So now for the cement. Oh. going to try to pour this without making dust all over because I don't want to breathe a lot of it. But I'm going to mix part of that up first. My paddle sometimes dries because this dries so quick I can't always stop and scrub it off, but I can beat it off later and it'll be all clean. So turn up the speed. Go ahead and mix that extra water in. Okay. Now let me see. I'm going to make sure that you can see what I'm doing here. Okay. I have a bunch of spatulas here. But the first one, stuff I try to get up with my hands. Okay. So the first thing we do is we get some of this mortar. See, it's a little bit thinner than I need it, but right now I'm just going to put it at the base and it will harden or thicken up really fast. Okay. So this, grab at the bottom, pull up the sides. It kind of pushes it into, there's 2 layers of mesh. And I want to kind of square this off, so I don't want it all perfectly rounded. But I've got to get the first layers kind of set into the mesh before I can put the shapes on the outside of that. So, and I'm using a sonotube inside my mesh today because it keeps the center of my bird bath underneath nice and clean and big enough to get your hands through, and then it doesn't weigh so much, because if a whole bunch of that cement goes through into the inside and hardens, it's really heavy. Okay. Go ahead and put some of this up on top. around the outside where I don't have any. Okay. First thing I want to do is not get cement in my water tube. I like to go ahead and shape some of this and let it kind of harden, and then I can put more on. But I don't want to have to grind a whole bunch out of the top. I like to have it clean and neat. And okay. I'll make sure it's on that top layer. And see if I pull up with the cement or the mortar, it stays on, but if I go down, it'll pull it right off. So, always want to pull up. After it gets a little bit thicker, then you can kind of push into it and get some to move around for you without coming off. And I do really like it when I get one batch and it does the whole thing. It's no fun having to mix up batch after batch after batch and cement. Left-handed today, so I hope I'm not messing it up, but I wanted you to be able to see what I was doing for once. There's no place to put my camera on this side at the moment. Okay. This extra is going to be shaping material. Scrape the rest out so it doesn't just harden in there. Okay. I'll let some of this kind of dry and set here, there, and make it look a little more like a rock instead of just, I don't know, a round log. And I haven't done one of these to really look like a rock for a while. So I got to kind of remember how I did it. But the birds really liked it, and all the people that saw it really liked it. So we'll see if I push down with that, it definitely pops off of there. So I'm going to let it sit a little more. On my other one, I kind of had a little shelf on the side, and all the birds like to kind of sit on that shelf, drink water out of it, especially when they had predators around. I figured it was safer on the side down where predators couldn't see them, so. I just don't want the mesh showing through, because that won't look good. Okay. This is getting better. This, I can just keep my trowel kind of going in the right direction. It just, if you put it on one direction and try to go back the other way, it seems like that will immediately pull it off. So I want the whole outside edge to be the same depth. Sometimes I try to make one little part of the bird bath on the top reservoir deeper for a little bit bigger birds. Because some of them, they try to squat down in the water to get a bath, and there's not enough water to squat in. They get down, wiggle the back of their tail, and that's it. Okay, I'm getting that mesh. I can hear the mesh under the wires, or under the spatula. And that is not a sound I want to hear. Not too many rocks have wire mesh under them. Kind of turn around so you can see what I'm doing. Pick up old cement out of this pan. My son is my, well, I have two sons, so I guess I should say my sons are both my sounding boards. If I do something and I want to know what they think of the look of things, I ask them. This has got to thicken a little before I can do what I want to do with it on the edge. One of these days I'll have to do one of these live so that you can tell me what you think. Fortunately, I don't have a computer outside, so. Boy, I haven't got to go anywhere and see rocks lately. Maybe I forgot what rocks looked like. Still have some mesh showing through here. That's not good. The thing my son said is make sure you don't wrap it around the don't smooth it going around the side, so that it looks like I'm trying to make a circle. I don't know if I saved enough to do this. Can't have that mesh showing through. Okay. There's some mesh here. Some mesh there. Oh. Some of this rough stuff, just, you know, rocks are kind of bumpy sometimes. I know that. This is a spot with mesh. Showing through. Okay. No, I don't want little holes like that for the water to pour down in the cement. So, try to get the rough spots, but right now I need to kind of clean this up here. I don't want people getting all snagged on the side of the bird bath, so. My knees don't like me kneeling on concrete for long periods of time. I know I've told this story before and probably shouldn't, but if you got kids in school, you know, talk to them every now and then. Find out what their teachers treat them like when they're, you know, correcting people, and think that that's their prerogative to discipline your kids however they want. I went to school a few years back, as you can tell. About 45 years back. Anyway, we had a teacher that one day I got in class and oh, sorry. Oh, kind of stiff. I'm gonna get me a chair. Anyways, we all came in the room, we all sat in our seats, and the teacher he was pretty picky about anybody who nobody could say a word without permission once the bell rang. Anyways, my friend asked me one day if I wanted a piece of gum, and I said no thank you, right as the bell rang. And anyway, he got upset at us. Told us to come up there in the front. And I had him for 2 study halls in a row. So for 2 hours. And because I had him for 2 hours, he made us come up there by his desk, face the class, and get down on our knees on the concrete. And just stand on our knees for 2 hours. And I have to say that my knees have not enjoyed that ever since, and that is 45 years ago. So, you know, ask your kids someday. When the teachers decide if somebody talked out of turn, how do they discipline kids? Because not all kids tell their parents. I never told mine. Anyways, no kid wants to tell their parents, oh, my teacher got mad at me today and tortured me for 2 hours. Anyway, that teacher needed his brain screwed on right. And I'm not joking. Anyway, I think he later committed suicide, so you never know. He seemed like a really nice guy when he wasn't torturing people. So, just ask him just for the fun of it. Tell him, hey, if your teacher ever does anything that's questionable, you know, to kids and their well-being, let me know, will you? I'm sure your kids would be glad to know they could tell somebody. One of the kids one day had enough of that teacher, and she went down to the principal's office. She told the principal what he was doing, and principal came back with the superintendent and hauled that teacher out of class. And that teacher got in some trouble. So anyways, they just needed somebody to tell what was going on. And sorry it wasn't me. I was used to getting corrected when I did something wrong, and my parents always had my best interest in mind, so I guess never thought that anybody would do anything about it if the teacher was being a not so intelligent person. So anyways, for your kids' sake, just ask them. They'll be glad to tell you, most of them, I'm sure. And I'm thinking hard. I've been told in the past that I always make a cringing look on my face, so if my face shows then I'm cringing, I guess that's my thinking hard face. And I'm eager to see this bird bath go. Man, I have been selling so many bird baths. I don't have any for my birds. I have this one with the birds and the bees, but to some extent there have been so many bees on there that I haven't seen many birds, and I would just really like to get a bird bath in here again, in their favorite spot that they like to use. And if I can get the water running really good over all sides, then the bees won't take over this one. they will go to the one that they have moss on, right here. And I keep thinking I should get a spoon for doing this. Smoothing it out so I'm not leaving lines. I know I've done it before and got it really smooth, and I really don't like to put a sealer on this part of the bird bath because it makes it too slippery. And this is for hummingbirds, and they need something. They need something to grab a hold of with their little teeny feet. And I like to make them a little edge right along the edge of the bird bath. Because if they have a little edge they can grab a hold of, then they'll feel real special, like it was made just for them. The other birds, they don't need something quite as little because they're not quite as little. But the hummingbirds, they have little teeny feet, and they really like to grab hold of an edge just to kind of look the bird bath over and see what exactly is the deepest and the shallowest spot and where they want to be. And this little edge I want it to be right along the edge because they like to stop right there and look the bird bath over, and they like to see where they want to jump in. I like the side of the swimming pool. This way, I know they'll be using this bird bath. So if there's too much water, if it's too deep, it flows too fast, it's dangerous for them. So this way, they grab this edge. They love to sit on an edge and let the water flow under them. They get all excited. And then they do little dips in the water, and so it's fun to watch them. I don't know if I have any kind of little spoon or plastic, or even a wet piece of plastic would help me smooth this off. This hose I'm gonna cut off right at the cement level, so that's good. You know, my gloves are smooth enough if they're wet. I want this to look like rock, so I don't want to put a lot of fingerprints in it, for sure. It's a teeny bit rough. I'm messing up my edge. Don't want to do that. Oh boy. It's amazing how some things just work and some things just don't. I don't want my fingerprints all over in this. Just want to smooth out those sharp cut edges. And I can use a grinder on it, but I don't really want to, because this will give it just enough texture so the hummingbirds will be able to land there. They'll be able to stand and kind of, they can catch their feet. Kind of get a little bit of a porous concrete. That's why they do that in your driveway, on your stairs, because otherwise it's so slippery. When it gets wet, it'll knock you down. I don't know if you can hear that little whistle, that one tone and then another one drops down just a little, but that is a chickadee. And I miss my little chickadees. It's been nesting season. They've been chasing each other all around, and they just haven't been at the bird baths or the feeders for a few days. Maybe closer to a week. Anyway, they are a cute little bird. I think I'm going to have to let it go like that. I'd love to be able to smooth out my one little spot there. That is not working either. Wow. Oh. I definitely need a round, smooth piece of metal. I'm not going to touch my camera. I'm just going to run inside real quick, because every time I do, it seems like, oh, yeah, I got a spring right here. Seems like whenever I touch it, when I touch my camera in the middle of this, it seems like it shuts off, and then I'm sitting there thinking I'm videotaping something, talking to myself, and then I get done and I'm like, oh my goodness, I didn't get the whole thing on video. So, yeah, look at that. I don't want there to be a gap in there, because then it can break off one day. I don't want it to chip off and think it was an edge that I pushed over the edge of something else and then just break. And I hope with all these red crumbs that they don't dye the whole surface of the cement here. I do rent I don't want to have to pay for a whole new patio. That works better. Somehow those little cut marks everywhere just don't look like an appealing bird bath. I'm going to get that edge, make sure it's stuck on there. There we go. Don't want water leaking out of them either. There we go. I think that's much better. And I still got some edges here and there. I don't need one everywhere all the way around, but I sure like to have a nice edge. Just a teeny one for my hummers. There we go. I think the rest of it looks good. It's got lots of texture. I'll kind of spin it around here one more time so you can see it. And the only thing I need to do is get it a reservoir. I like the texture on there. It doesn't look like a log. I don't know if it looks like a rock, but oh, somehow that got a gouge. And that looks like a fingerprint, and I don't want a fingerprint gouge in my in my bird bath. Some of this, if you're not careful, it'll kind of crack off later, and I don't want it to crack off, so just kind of stick the ends down, press them into place, fill any holes. Yeah, that looks right. And there we are. Don't want mesh sticking out. So, there's our bird bath for the day. This will dry in a matter of a couple hours. I might set it in my greenhouse for the night just to make sure it cures all the way through. Tomorrow I can cut that tube off, and I've got to go buy at a reservoir because I think I sold them all, and I have a brand new pump ready for it. And so then it's just a matter of whether I should put any light highlights on the edges that are sticking up of this rock, or any dark edges in the parts that are sunk in, or just let it be. So we're gonna go with that, and you have a great day. Thank you for watching, and I'm gonna go see if I can get this uploaded. Have a great day, and enjoy making bird baths. They're a lot of fun, and man, if I haven't sold 9 of them in the last few days, last couple weeks, I would have more in my yard, and my birds are starting to wonder where their bird baths are, because that's what they come here for all summer long. The hummingbirds, they come for the flowers, but the other birds, they come for the bird baths. So I am going to get back to making sure that they have a bird bath to splash in. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.